Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast. This is Things You Don't Need to Know About, presented to you by Larissa and Alex. I'm Alex, and that is...
Larissa.
Awesome. All right, welcome back to the podcast. As you guys already know, we haven't been uploading at all. We've been having really bad problems with our mic lately. It's been cutting in and out all the audio, and we lost a few podcasts that way, so it really sucked. But we're back at it. We figured out the problem, so now we're here again. What's this podcast going to be about?
So we're going to be talking about traveling. Obviously, it's the nicer season, so a lot more people go away and they go to different places. So we're just going to start talking about our experiences, things we've learned over time while traveling. So it hopefully helps you out a little bit and you can avoid making the same mistakes that we did.
Right. Because, I mean, that sucks. Nothing sucks more than going on vacation and expecting one thing and getting something completely that you didn't.
Right. Or being discouraged right from the beginning and then kind of ruining the rest of your vacation.
Right.
So first we're gonna talk about 3 different types of traveling. So one will be local, one will be out of state, so not super far away, but far enough away where you're a couple hours away from home. And then international traveling. So those are 3 completely different ways of traveling, so we got some different tips for all those.
Right.
So first, we're going to do the local traveling.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. I think a lot of people underestimate local traveling because you got to plan and don't do it last minute at all, because we've done this. We've made that mistake before.
Many a times where we'll be like, it's only a couple towns over. We can just book it when we're going, or book it the night before.
And it didn't work out.
No, it ended horribly. So, like, one example is we stayed in Braintree, which is the same town that we live in, basically.
Right.
And we only booked one night, and we were like, if we feel like staying, we'll book another night. And joke's on us, because there was nothing available by the time we wanted to book the second night.
Right. What was our first vacation? What was our first staycation ever?
I think the KOA.
No,
Norwood.
It was Norwood.
Yeah.
If anyone's hip to the area, wow, that was really lame. God damn it, I hate myself. If anyone is hip, God damn it, I'm just gonna say it. If anyone's hip to the area, Norwood Sheraton is a really nice hotel to stay at, but it's kind of got really nothing around it.
Right, and I think that was the downside to staying in Norwood, was that unless we, took an Uber down to, Legacy Place or something like that, there was really nothing to do, and the bar in the hotel was expensive and kind of shitty.
Yeah, it wasn't that great. What was it called? The One Bistro.
Yeah, something like that.
It wasn't that great. The food was okay. It was really expensive for what it was, but it's hotel diner. It's like hotel dining. It's always like that. So.
Well, and I feel like they kind of take advantage of the people that stay there, because it's like, where else are you gonna go unless you drive all the way down the highway to Legacy Place?
Right, and the closest place to get something to eat was a Subway.
Right.
Nasty.
Nasty. But yeah, so definitely don't plan too last minute, because you'll regret it. Same thing with the KOA. If we waited a couple weeks out, it was too late. It was too popular. There was too many people that wanted to stay there, so we were kind of shit out of luck.
Right. The KOA is a really great place to go if you guys haven't been.
I think that's my favorite place locally.
Of America. You can go there. You can do a tent, or you can do an RV, or you can actually get a log cabin, which is really awesome.
Yeah, which is what we did. So we got the log cabin. Which has a full kitchen, a couple bedrooms.
Right, and the closest one to us was Marshfield?
No. Middleborough, yeah, near Plymouth.
Right, it was pretty nice.
Because Plymouth Rock was right down the street.
Right. I think the biggest thing about traveling locally is know what you want to look for. So,
right, so kind of look around in the area to make sure that there's something there that would interest you.
Right, so just because a hotel looks nice and you want to stay at it, I mean, you're not traveling to stay inside of a hotel.
Right, and I think that can be said across the board for all 3 of these different subcategories. Right. Yeah, you want to stay somewhere that has what you need, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because the amount of time you're going to be in your hotel or Airbnb or whatever is going to be so minute compared to the time you're going to be outside.
Right.
But definitely don't wait last minute, and then also look up what's in the area ahead of time. So make sure there's enough to do. Make sure it's close enough. If it's not close enough, how are you going to get there? How are you going to get back?
Right. For example, our Braintree stay, my mother, I don't really live with my mother anymore. I really just live with Larissa now. But my mother lives in Braintree, and that's where all my stuff is. And anyways, she was right down the street from me on this vacation. And so I kind of grew up a little bit in the area. So I knew everything in the area. So the vacation was fun in the sense of everything was new to us. Like the hotel was new. It was cool that we had like a space of our own.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is we didn't look things up in ahead of time, so we were kind of stuck doing like the same thing over and over again.
Right, and they were like the same things that we usually do because we're in that area all the time.
Right. It was just now. It was like, okay, go over to the 110 grill, get something to eat and drink, and now you can go back to the hotel because it's only 10.
Right, exactly. And then also, if you're planning to stay locally, don't stay too long.
Oh my God, don't do it.
Because it gets so goddamn boring.
It really does.
I think we tried to stay in the Norwood Sheridan for too long, and we ended up just coming home like 2 days early.
And literally too long was only about like 4 days. It was only 4 nights.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was like a long weekend or something where we went on a Friday and we're planning on staying till like Tuesday morning.
And we're finding this whenever we do like a staycation, we're finding this everywhere. It wasn't just at the Norwood location because there was nothing to do around it. It was everywhere we go because since it's so local and you know the area somewhat already.
And you've been to all the places that you're staying near.
Right.
If you like run out of things very quickly to entertain yourself with.
Right. And you end up sitting in the hotel and you're just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Right.
I'm just going to go back home.
Basically. But the KOA was a little different because that was a vacation where it was like to purposefully disconnect.
Right.
So we were staying kind of in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it wasn't so far out where you couldn't like find things to do.
Right.
But we didn't necessarily care about doing things to do. It was more to just sit in the cabin, relax, watch TV, be away from the people that we're usually with.
Our families.
Yeah. Have some time by ourselves. But that was more of a like disconnecting vacation. So that's a little different. But again, you can't stay too long because you're going to get bored of just sitting there.
Right. I totally agree.
So now for our next category is, do you have anything to add to the local?
No, I think we covered everything.
I think so too. So traveling out of state. So that's like we've been to New York, we've been to Maine. Is that all we've been to locally? I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, we really don't go anywhere locally.
No, we don't.
So again, don't wait too long to book this, especially like we learned this really fast when we started staying in Maine. Oh, excuse me. So when we first started
Excuse me.
when we first started staying in Maine, we booked way too late. Then it was so expensive because, a lot of people go to somewhere like that. Same with New York. It's a very popular destination for people to visit. So as you wait longer and longer, the price goes up and up and up. So definitely booking at least a few months in advance is like something that's necessary if you're looking to save a little bit of money.
Right.
And to get like a decent place to stay.
Especially if you're going somewhere like Maine. Like say you're going somewhere that has a festival around it. Okay, and that's the reason why you're going there. Say something that has like a what are those things? A convention around it. Do your research. Make sure you book it way in ahead of time because everything, you don't realize it, but everything is going to be booked really fast.
Right, and we learned that lesson that time that we stayed in a motel, and it was basically a shed.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was really bad, guys. The bed was about, I don't know, maybe like 2 inches thick.
Yeah, no, it was pretty terrible. It was literally like someone made like a bargain shed and said, "This is your room."
They put a bed in it and they barely put a door on it.
Yeah, and then there was this tiny, tiny bathroom where you couldn't like even close the door if you were inside of it.
Yeah, I remember. We didn't even take a shower in that bathroom because it was so gross. All right, just gauge that. We didn't even take a shower and clean our bodies because we thought the place was too gross.
Right. And going off of that, cheap is not better.
No.
You're not going on vacation to save money. You're going on vacation to spend your hard-earned money and to relax a little bit.
And to have a good time, to enjoy the money that you made. I'm not telling you to go out there and blow all your money.
Yeah, but be reasonable with it. Don't try to just spend no money because it's not going to work.
Don't go on a vacation if you're going to be penny pinching the entire time.
Yeah, and also do your research. So if you are looking to save a little bit of money, do your research thoroughly, because we learned that lesson super hard when we went to New York the last time. I saw a hotel and, it was like a decent price. I think it was like only like $80 a night. I was like, this is great. It was a vacation that we waited way too long to book. I chose the first option that was the cheapest. And I just scrolled through the website and I was like, oh, looks good enough. And then that was it. We get to the hotel. Do you want to tell them about it? Because you were severely disappointed.
I'll tell them about it. All right. So I think the best part. All right, let me start from the beginning. We pull up to the hotel and it's like around midnight at this point.
Yeah, because we got a late train in the
morning.
Yeah.
So it's like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. We walk into the hotel and the hotel is absolutely beautiful.
Right.
In the lobby. And we're just like, oh my God, like, what a good idea, babe. Like, you really friggin' outdid yourself on this one. And then we walk up to the elevator, and a drug addict comes stumbling out of the elevator, almost falls onto us.
And is getting into a fight with his friend or girlfriend, whoever she was.
I was just like, all right, well, that's a bit weird, but keep moving forward, I'm not going to let that ruin anything. We get up to the 16th floor, because remember, guys, this is New York City, so all the hotels are really high. Get up to the 16th floor, and you can hear the wind from outside blowing through the hallways. The rug was torn in the hallways. It wasn't even in the room. We weren't even in the room yet. The rug was it seemed like it was folded in some parts, so you could trip over the rug at any moment if you weren't looking at the ground. There were stains all over the place. Finally, we get to the room and walk in.
Well, one more thing about the carpet is the carpet continued from the hallway into your room. It wasn't separated.
Horrible. It wasn't different carpet at all.
Yeah.
It was just the same.
So it was like
carpet.
all those germs and gross nasties could just crawl right into your room on the carpet.
Guys, it was awful. I walked into that room and I put my bags down. I looked at Larissa and I was just like, well, if we're ever going to get murdered at a place, it's going to be there.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah. I slept with a knife right beside me that night.
Yeah, well, we didn't really sleep that much.
I was so skeeved out to sleep on that bed, too.
Yeah, it was really nasty. Everything about it was pretty outdated. In New York, there's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people that stay, so things get worn down faster, which is understandable. But this thing was, so outdated that it looks like the last time it was renovated was, in the 70s. Which, I mean,
should we put this hotel on blast right now and tell them the name?
No,
you know what?
We shouldn't do that.
We should, because I don't want anyone to go through this shit. If you're in Times Square or Manhattan, it's called the Manhattan at Times Square.
Yeah.
That's the hotel's name. It is absolute shit.
Yes.
Don't go. Don't go. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, we definitely won't book
maybe
there
when you
again.
get to a higher level, because I know if you get to
maybe
above,
it's just because we
20,
paid so little that we were put in the shittier room.
Yeah, because remember stopping at floor number 5
and it was super nice and all renovated.
Nice.
Yeah, I think they are going through renovations, so maybe in a couple months they'll be fine. But when we went, it was not fine.
Yeah, it was not fine at all.
So when you're traveling out of state or traveling anywhere for that matter, you have to learn to go with the flow. Your plans are not always going to work out. It's not always going to be good. Sometimes you plan something and it's going to be terrible and you just got to move on and do the next plan or go with the next flow.
Right.
I think that was something that was really hard for Alex to do when we first started traveling.
It really was. But I think it was mostly international, but I do remember having that problem when we first went to New York City. I didn't know what to expect. I am a very, I don't know if you could say I'm a tense person, but I'm a very cautious person.
Well, I think you're very much a homebody, so when you're out of your element, you're constantly tense, and you're just expecting everything to go wrong.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
So definitely try not to be like that. Relax. You know, you're in a new place. Not everything is gonna be as it seems. You just gotta figure it out and keep going. So.
And as that person that freaks out at like the slightest inconvenience, I don't freak out, but I get upset at the slightest inconvenience because I want everything to go perfectly. I'm telling you, just go with the flow. Breathe, guys. Just keep moving through it. Everything's gonna be okay. The trip is gonna end up good.
Yeah.
The trip will definitely end up great, guys.
So, on to the next point. If you're traveling with someone, make the intentions clear so no one gets disappointed. So
I totally agree because we have a. Do you want to tell us about the upcoming trip that we have?
So we're going to Colorado. We're driving from Colorado to Las Vegas in an RV.
Right, we're flying out to Colorado, touching down in Denver International Airport.
Yep, we're gonna be doing the Rocky Mountains. We're gonna be going through Utah and doing the national parks there. Then the Grand Canyon and all that fun stuff in Arizona.
Right.
And then stopping in Las Vegas and flying out from there.
Right. So on this vacation, we're doing it a bit different. We are bringing my sister along with me. I'm very excited about it. But this ties into what we're talking about right now. Make sure that everybody in the party knows what you want to get into while you're on the vacation, and understand what they also want to get into on the vacation, because you might want to go to the Grand Canyon, right? But the next person might be like, let's fucking take like a donkey ride down the Grand Canyon, because I think you can do that.
I think you can do that.
You can like
too.
ride a donkey down the Grand Canyon, and it's just like, holy shit, like great idea, man. That's freaking awesome. Like, make sure you plan it out so everybody has fun.
Well, yeah, because the last thing you want... So we're very active when we're on our vacations. We just want to try to fit as much in as we can before we have to come back home.
Right.
So that was something we made super clear. You know, we might take a nap during the day, but we're going to be going from 7 in the morning until
probably
the nighttime. Yeah, right. We usually sleep very little when we're doing these active vacations. So we did want to make that clear before anything else, because that can be very tiring for someone that's not on the same wavelength as us.
Right. Someone that's not used to it. But I think we chose a great person to go with because she's down for everything, which is cool.
Yeah.
And she just had a shitty vacation too. Good God.
Yeah, that is a great example of planning better.
It really is a great example, and it's a great example of telling people what you want out of this.
Right.
Honestly, I'm not gonna get into it, but she did not have a good time. So hopefully this is her redemption period. We're gonna show her how to really take a vacation, how to have a great time.
Yeah, I think we've gotten pretty good at it.
We have. Yeah, I think we have. Since we've thrown ourselves into vacations, we just kind of okay, we're not gonna go just to Maine now. We're just gonna fucking throw ourselves into it.
Yeah, and I've gotten pretty good at planning things.
You've gotten excellent at it.
Pretty good at researching, knowing where to look.
So listen up. If you weren't as good as you are at planning, we'd probably still be in Italy somewhere, dead.
We can talk about that after.
Or we wouldn't have gone to Italy. In Russia, we would have been killed.
So our next point is don't spend all your money on food, spend it on experiences. If you only have so much money, cook your own food. Get like simple foods that you can put together, like sandwiches, little snacks, and things like that. Sorry, there's some people talking outside, so if you can hear them, we apologize.
Big apology. Sorry, guys.
But so, the only time where you can make an exception for that is if you're going somewhere specifically for the food. If that's like a big part of the experience, well, if that's a big part in experiencing the culture, then fine, spend your money on food. But honestly, I would recommend spending it on experiences.
Well, like the New York trip, everyone's just like, you got to get the New York pizza. So we did. You got to do it.
Well, no, I think a better example is when we went to Italy.
Right.
Italy is all about food. People go to Italy specifically to have the authentic Italian food.
Right.
And we ate a lot of it.
Yeah, we did. Do you want to get into that, actually?
Not yet.
Okay.
Let's finish that out of state first, and then move on to international.
Good idea.
So have a packing list. Because nothing is more annoying when you're only a few states away and you forget something and then have to buy it. It's like, I'm so goddamn close to home, I should have just remembered it.
Right.
But on that note, don't overpack. You're not that far away. Bring the essentials, and that's it. You don't need 400 outfits.
I completely agree with this.
Yeah, because that was the biggest mistake I think we were making at first. We were bringing way too much with us, and then it's annoying to get around. It's annoying to lug it all over the place. It's annoying for you to go through it and then try to repack it the proper way.
And you have a greater chance of losing it, too. You have a greater chance of leaving it somewhere because you have too much shit to account for.
Right, exactly. Because, like, honestly, the last time we went to New York, we both just bought a backpack.
That was it. Just a backpack. And we were staying for, what, 3 days? 3 nights?
Yeah, 3.
All we had was a backpack. I put, like, I think I had, like, 2 pairs of jeans. And I had, like, a ton of underwear. I think that's, like, the biggest thing. Like, bring underwear and bras, panties, whatever you guys wear.
Yeah, and for the girls out there, you're not going to wear all those clothes that you're bringing with you. I think the last couple of times we went away, I brought, like, maybe, like, 4 or 5 outfits for the week, and I wore maybe 2 of them.
Yeah, it's true. I think when you're traveling, you don't really give a shit as much. You're just like, what the hell am I looking good for? Like, let's have
you're just
a good
like,
time.
Right, you're just more concerned about having a good time.
And
so usually I'll bring, like,
you look good in whatever you wear, baby.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you mean? Are you agreeing with yourself?
I am. I'm awesome.
Cocky little bastard.
No, but I agree. So usually I'll bring, like, a casual outfit, something that's, like, good for me to, like...
And functional.
Right.
And
like,
it looks good, too.
And then I'll bring, like, maybe one nice outfit in case we, like, go out to dinner or go somewhere fancier.
Right. Which we did.
And then something to sleep in.
Remember the last time we went there? We went to that restaurant?
Oh, yeah. We were so underdressed.
Oh, my God. Guys and gals. Gals and guys. Everyone was, the men were dressed in suits, and the women were dressed in nice jewelry and dresses, and I walk in with ripped jeans and a fucking flannel. And Larissa walks in. Were you wearing sweatpants?
No, I had jeans on and a sweatshirt.
In a sweatshirt, guys and gals and guys.
The food was amazing.
The food
it was
super
worth
good.
It.
But, like, another good thing about it was we were right on top of people, so people could plainly see what we were wearing. And they knew exactly that. It was just like, they are tourists. They came here. They had no idea this place was fancy. And now they're walking in looking like bams.
What?
Bams. Like bums, bams.
You're so crazy. So this last one ties in with both the out-of-state and the international travel. So we'll kind of segue with this one. So make sure you're somewhat directionally savvy. I am not one of those people, but at least try to do some research of the area before you go. So for example, when we were, like, in New York, I knew there was, like, a couple of places that I wanted to go to. Like, we missed the Brooklyn Bridge the last time, so that was something that we wanted to do. And then just a couple of places to eat, but I mapped them all out from our hotel just so I would have an idea of how far away it was. So then we're not wasting all this time trying to find where it is, seeing if we have enough time and, like, all that stuff. And then a more severe example is when we went to Iceland. So first we had to figure out where the furthest point we were going, how long it would take to get there, and then how long it would take to get to each individual place that we were stopping at to make sure we had enough time and got back to the airport on time. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you get to your plane or you're losing out on a lot of money.
Right. I don't, like, when I was listening to you talk, it kind of seems like I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression here. I want you guys to have a plan. We want you guys to have a plan set out, but you know what? Life is full of spontaneous moments, and if you fucking kill a whole entire day doing something that was totally radical, then do it.
Well, yeah. Well, that's, like, what our point is of, like, don't plan too much, but plan a little bit so you're not, like, screwing yourself over.
We don't want you to be like, okay, at 1 o'clock we do this, at 2 o'clock we do this, at 3 o'clock we do this. No. Have like a broad general idea.
Right. So, like, for an example, like, in Iceland, we just knew we had to get to this one point by the end of the day. So we would just make sure we got there so we weren't wasting too much time.
Simple as that. The entire rest of the day was us lollygagging and having a good time.
Right.
Hiking up mountains, seeing incredible water. God damn it, I fucking loved Iceland.
I know.
If anyone's listening from Iceland, I haven't been to a lot of countries, but you have the most beautiful country. I don't even care. I don't give a shit. I haven't been to any other countries. I mean, I have, but you have the most beautiful country. It is amazing.
So far.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everybody else. But I just thought it was absolutely incredible there.
So, circling back around to everything will not be what you anticipate it to be. Why don't you tell them a story?
Okay.
Maybe a couple of stories.
Okay, couple stories.
Yeah.
All right, so let me think. I'll start with Iceland because that was probably the biggest disappointment that I had when I first got there. So
Well, before you start, keep in mind that Alex doesn't really do any of the research.
Right.
He's more there to like figure things out when we get there.
Right.
So I do all the research. I know where we're going, and then he's there to kind of like make it happen.
Right, because I'm resourceful.
Right. So when we first get places, he's not anticipating any of it because he wasn't the one that like kind of researched everything before we go there. He's just there.
So I had no idea what the place was gonna be. So for people that haven't been to Iceland, it is an island. It's made out of volcanic rock. It's very similar to how Hawaii is. But there is a lot of sulfur in the water. So almost everywhere you go, you smell rotten eggs. So
Smells like farts.
It sounds really bad, but it's not as bad as it seems. But okay, so I walk into the airport and immediately it's like I smell it, and I'm just like, I thought it was me at first. I was like, fuck, like it smells awful here. Like, is it me? It wasn't me. It was just the place smelling bad. So I'm like, okay, that sucks. The next part was us getting to the RV. Okay.
Well, that smell, for anyone that is planning on going to Iceland, you don't smell it the whole time.
No, you get used
It's
to
really
it.
just around the airport, but as you get further and further away, you don't smell it anymore.
Yeah, we didn't smell it at all.
It wasn't until we got like back into the airport.
And even when we got back to Reykjavik, it wasn't. I didn't really smell it.
No, I didn't smell it.
Maybe
either.
it was just you got used to it.
It was just like the area, I think.
Yeah, maybe it was just the area. So we had to get an RV because we RV'd around Iceland. It was the best option that we found to be possible. We get to see a lot more, and you're always traveling, you're always on the go, so it's fun. You have a bed with you, a toilet with you, a shower with you, you have all the essentials, somewhere to cook. So if you guys are planning on going to Iceland, I think that's a really good idea.
Depending on what you want to do. If you want to see a lot, that's the best option.
Yeah, I really agree. There's a lot of campgrounds around Iceland and places, and they're clearly marked with signs. They look like little teepees. So anyways, we get to the RV rental place. We sit there for like, it was like 2.5 hours.
Well, yeah, because they like make you watch a video.
You had to watch like an
fill out
instructional
paperwork,
video.
Which we didn't know any of that.
Right.
I didn't even know any of that.
I was just like, fuck, this sucks. But it was just like, that was me just being like sick of traveling. I just want to get into it already. And that's how I always am. But I'm always, I try to be optimistic, but sometimes it's hard. So we get into the RV and immediately I'm just like, this RV is a Standard.
Yeah.
I have never driven a Standard in my life.
No better place to learn.
I'll have you know, though, I did not fuck up. I fucked up. I may have fucked up.
A handful of times.
The woman came up to me and she's just like, I don't think she called it a Standard. She said it was a manual. She's just like, it's a manual. Are you comfortable with that? And I'm just like, yep, totally.
Yeah, because he didn't want like the RV to be taken away or something, or for them to tell us that we couldn't take it if he didn't know how to drive it. So he's just like, yep,
so
know how to drive it.
And this is where Larissa's saying my resourcefulness comes through, because I adapt to things really quickly, and I feel like I learn things really quickly. I had to maneuver out a very, very, very tight garage, and she was directing me, and I could not stall that fucking thing in front of her, or else it would make it seem like I didn't know how to drive it. And God willing, and God granted us the strength, I did not stall that motherfucker in front of her, but I stalled it about 90 times down the road. that really sucked. Like, I couldn't seem to like find second gear. I was always pushing it into fourth, and I was like, why is it going so slow? It's telling me I have to shift down. I'm like, I think I'm almost positive I'm in fourth gear. I wasn't like used to having gears so close together because I've never driven something before like that. I thought I was in fourth gear, but I wasn't. We get down the street. We go to a Cronin, which is one of their. I want to say it's
like their chain grocery store, like Stop and Shop.
Is it though? But I think it's like one of their budget grocery stores. Is it?
Right. Yeah. So I guess you're right. Like more like a price, right?
It's almost like a price light or a Save a Lot.
Yeah.
Save a Lot, a grocery store. I don't even know.
Yeah, it is.
It's something like that. So we parked. And I'm like so friggin' discouraged. I'm like, I can't figure out this goddamn transmission. Like, I can't fucking drive this thing. I stalled it on like the half a mile ride there, and it was like a mile. I stalled it about 2 times, and that really discouraged me. And one of them was inside of a rotary, which Iceland loves rotaries. Oh my
god, there's too many.
There's rotaries everywhere in that country.
Yeah.
They love those things.
If you definitely want like more of a breakdown on Iceland, let us know. Because we would love to go through that whole experience what we wanted.
Let me fast forward the story a little bit. We get to the Cronin. I'm looking around. There's nobody around. Everything's like monochromatic coloring. It's just like, I look around and I'm just like... It looks
kind of sad.
It looked really, really sad. It didn't look beautiful at all. It looked just kind of just glummy. And
right.
It made me upset. It made me super depressed. And I was like, fuck, like, is this entire country like this? Is it kind of felt like I was in a third world country.
Right. Because, like, all the pictures you see are all, like, the awesome things that you drive to. You go there with a purpose. But when you're first getting out of the airport and you're starting your journey, it looks nothing like any picture you've ever seen.
No, and the crazy thing about it is you're not far away from those beautiful things. All you have to do is just drive out of that town. It's crazy. Iceland is one of those places where you can drive 10 miles down the road and feel like you're in a completely different world.
Right. That's completely true.
It was nuts. And real quick, we've seen in Iceland, which I thought was the most incredible thing, it was snowing 5 feet away. Like, you could literally see the division from snow to just dry pavement. It was like you were like literally traveling over an invisible border, which I thought was crazy. But point of the story is, don't get depressed, people.
Definitely don't let it get discouraged.
It really discouraged me. And then we went inside, and the cashier made fun of me because I didn't realize I had to bag my own shit. And I was just staring at her, like waiting for her to bag it. I was like, "What you doing?" Everyone in line laughed at me. I was just like, "I fucking hate this place."
Yeah, the start of any trip I think we've taken is a little like
it's hard
stressful.
On me.
Yeah, because one big thing too, circling back of cheap is not the best option. That also goes when you're going internationally. So you picking the cheapest flight, the cheapest place to stay is terrible. So I planned when we went to Italy to do it very cheaply to get over there. So we weren't spending like all of this money on just flying there and back.
Right.
And it was the worst mistake I think I've ever made when traveling.
Yeah.
It took us about 24 hours to get from our home to the place we were staying in Italy, in Florence. And
in all reality, that flight should have only been like, what, 7 or 8 hours?
Yeah, it all could have been avoided if I'd just spent a little bit more
money on it.
So what happened is when we booked it, we took a bus from Boston to New York because flying out of New York was cheaper. The bus ran hours late.
Hours.
So by the time we got to the airport, we had to rush. So that was already a start to a bad time. We flew from New York to Russia, which is past Italy, if you don't know. So
we flew past Italy.
We flew right past our destination and then had to fly back to Italy, where
That
we
was our
landed in
layover.
Milan.
That was our one layover.
Right. And then from Milan, we took the subway to Florence, which is where
Right.
we stayed. Which that part was okay. I liked getting that whole experience of
subway part
taking the
wasn't bad at
subway,
all.
being in Milan, and traveling to another part of Italy. But the whole part before that, it was just a huge headache. And I would have spent a couple $100 more to fly out of Boston right to Italy.
Right.
None of that was worth it. So for those of you trying to save money, it's not worth it.
Yeah, think about that next time you want to save money. Just think about that layover because it fucking sucks, especially if the flight's already long.
Right.
And 9 hours is a long flight, guys. Like, I know that there's flights out there that are 15, 17 hours, 20 hours long. Like, say you're going to Japan, I know that's a long flight, but
you also have
9
to
hours?
think about where you're traveling to. Obviously, that's going to be a longer flight. But
Right.
for us to go over 10 hours to something that's so close to the East Coast
Right.
is stupid.
It was nuts. It's a long time to be sitting down. It sucks. All right, moving on. Be prepared for long travel and don't get discouraged. We covered that. Know the laws when you're driving. When I first went to Iceland, I did not do any of that research. I didn't see what any of the signs meant, and the signs are slightly different. Luckily, if you're the type of person that can kind of just like use your common sense, it worked out for me, and it was okay.
Right.
The speed limit signs don't have any like lettering on them or anything. All they say is just a number. And
right, but it's all in kilometers, not miles per hour.
But I mean, which is okay because the Fiat we had a Fiat camper. That was weird. I thought that only Fiat's made.
Yeah.
Our camper was a Fiat. It was in kilometers as well, so it was easy to match up. Just know the area that you're in. Know that what the traffic laws are. Know what some of the street signs mean because some of them can be confusing. I know that there was...
And the 20 million rotaries make everything confusing.
And the first time we got to this, it kind of freaked me out. I was like, what the fuck is this? And they use it a lot. For some reason, when you go over like small rivers or streams, they won't use two-way bridges.
Oh, yeah, they're only one way, so you gotta share it.
Yeah, so you have to share that one path that you go on. So you have to look across the bridge, make sure there's nobody on the other side or they're close enough. Let them know that you're going to be the one that's crossing the bridge right now so you guys don't get in a head-on collision.
Right, yeah,
Iceland
so
use that a lot.
Something like that is something you gotta like just kind of roll
be aware
with.
of because we came up to it and I was slowing down. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I was like looking at other people across this road like coming the same way.
Right.
So it's just little things like that you should be aware of.
So the next thing is know some of the language because it makes everything easier and it makes the person that you're like trying to talk to actually like you a little bit more because Americans have this whole stigma around them. Anytime they go anywhere, they're kind of like looked down upon because, all of the stereotypes and things like that. So just by knowing some of the language to get by really helps a lot. And don't be afraid to ask the locals questions because, you can Google anything all day, every day, but no one's going to know more than the people that live there and are there every single day.
I completely agree. There is a big stigma around Americans. For the most part, newsflash, people think we're ignorant.
Yeah.
And
in a lot of places. And I mean, we're very nice people, so it's kind of discouraging when like in Italy, there was a lot of people that were like instantly annoyed with us.
Because they knew we were American.
But almost everybody in Italy speaks English. From where we went anyway, almost every single person we met spoke English.
Right.
So some of them would pretend to not speak English, or they would like pretend to know like they had no idea what we were talking about.
Right.
And then we'd turn around and they'd be speaking English to somebody else. So it's definitely a little frustrating, but by making that first step of saying some words in their own language, usually they tend to like you a little bit more.
We got to a campsite in Iceland, and the woman was just like, I don't know why, but she asked us our nationality, and we were just like American, and she spat out a little giggle, and she's just like, it's okay, you can't help it. I was just like, what the fuck? Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But most Icelanders are extremely nice people.
Oh yeah, they are super
Even though
nice.
she was like an asshole in that sense, she was still a nice person.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just all depends on who you meet, and I'm
Right.
sure she hasn't had the greatest experiences with
Right,
Americans
there's assholes
coming
everywhere.
through. So lastly, so just a couple more tips for international travel that we have found is really important is invest in a good backpack because you're going to have that thing with you the whole time.
Mhm.
Make sure you have luggage locks because especially like in Italy where it was like so busy, it was good to have those so no one like tries to bump into you and steal your stuff because I
Right.
think I've read about every single scenario that could ever happen internationally.
I think that's a big thing that happens in Italy, actually. In like,
Yeah.
like when you go to Rome, if you guys are going to be traveling to Rome, I think it is actually a big problem. It's not that you're going to get mugged per se. You're going to get pickpocketed.
Right.
So they're going to try to do it without you knowing it.
Right, exactly. So that's just an easier way to avoid it. And then cell phones. So in Iceland, we like invested in some like
It was like a little hotspot.
router type of deal where like we could get internet and things like that, which made our trip overall way easier because we could access Google Maps and things like that.
Right.
And then Alex always switches over to an international plan. So like we can like call our families every once in a while.
It's
like
a big
just keep
deal,
them
guys.
updated.
Something that you guys really have to think about. Sprint does offer it. I know that Verizon offers it, but it's
So
expensive. Sprint was free. I could use unlimited data, unlimited texting, obviously, because that's data. The only thing that wasn't free was talking. It was like 50 cents or a quarter or something like that.
Something like that.
It's a big deal, guys. You really need your cell phone with you. I know it's just like I'm glued to this fucking thing. It's making me an idiot, but it's not. That cell
Right,
phone is
in the
very,
sense
very
of
powerful.
international travel, you do need it. Obviously, not for like any purpose you would use it at home for. Like,
No.
who cares about Instagram and Facebook? Like, you have things right in front of you that are
Right.
beautiful. But like in a sense of making sure you're safe, it's super important.
It is.
And then for any place that you go, print out your itinerary and give it to a couple people.
Mhm.
I always have like a whole folder that I give to my mom before we go, just so she knows where we are at any given time. And it just gives her the peace of mind that we're going to be safe when we're internationally traveling or going anywhere.
Right.
But also in a case that she can't get in contact with us or something happens,
Right.
she has everywhere that we're going to be right in front of her.
Right. You know what? Actually, you should tell them about how you printed out pictures of the license. And all
Oh,
that
right.
Stuff.
So I know it's a fear to like lose your license or lose your passport when you're traveling internationally because then you can have a problem getting back to your home. So what I do is I take a photocopy of every type of personal identification, all of our tickets, all of our reservations or things like that, and I keep them in a folder. And I keep a folder in every one of our bags. So they're in our carry-ons. If we bring any like paid luggage, they're in those, in our backpacks. So there's a copy of everything. So in a case that we were to lose everything and only have one bag, it's still in.
Right.
It seems excessive, but it gives me the peace of mind that if something were to happen, I have at least something to like give it to whoever needs to see it.
I completely agree. That was a good fun. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
Make sure when you leave, say you're staying in a hotel, make sure you always leave with that phone charged as well. My sister just recently, when she went on her trip that I just told you guys about, she left with her phone not charged. She went to a car rental place, and the car broke down, and she called me trying to ask me to help. Long story short, she was a push-to-start car. She doesn't know how to use those things. She doesn't realize that she has to press the brakes. Idiot. Christina, I'm talking about you. And her phone was going to die, so she didn't know how the fuck to get back. Something you really got to make sure you do, guys. Charge that phone because it could be a lifeline.
Right. So that's it for today. So I know we mentioned the Colorado trip. So we're going to be putting updates on the Instagram. So if you do want to follow along about how we plan things, where I look to go find deals and things like that, go follow us on our Instagram at Larissa and Alex.
Right. That Colorado trip isn't for a few months, though. Yeah,
so we won't be doing it till September, but I mean, I do start planning this far in advance so we get good deals. I understand what we're looking for and things like that, so I usually start at least 4 or 5 months ahead of time.
Right. And if you guys want us to, we could actually vlog during that Like do like not like actual. I don't know. We might be able to do like actual like vlogs
Yeah, I mean, we could also just take the
or like
laptop
short
with us
clips
and
or like do podcasts
You're
while
right.
we're on the trip. I wouldn't mind doing that at all.
yeah. So if that is something that you're interested in, definitely go on the Instagram and let us know.
Right.
Don't forget to subscribe and rate this podcast. That's super important. So
Right. Leave a comment down below if you'd like to.
Right.
Anything you want to, if you want to leave a request, you can do that. All right, guys.
but that's it.
All right. Until next time. Later.
Bye. 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 Bye.